Everybody, how's it going? Austin Practal Performance, coming at you live. It's Tuesday. It's a beautiful day. It's been a great one so far. Hope you all are having an amazing day yourselves. Today, just going to jump into it a little bit. Just going to jump into it and talk about, if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to check it out. I did an interview with my client, Kieran, and I posted that. And it was fucking awesome. And yeah, you should watch it if you haven't seen it yet. But I understand that not everybody has an hour to watch something, even no matter how good it is. Because let me tell you, it's really solid, and it's pretty cool hearing her side of things and perspective. But if you don't have an hour to do that, I will be posting a highlight reel of the interview tomorrow. So make sure to watch that if you don't watch the actual interview itself, even though I think it's worth it. So, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how my client, Kieran, has lost almost right around 30 pounds since we started working together, and kind of how that happened, and just kind of do a little overview and talk about what she did and how she did it, and how I kind of coached her through it, and why she was able to do what she was able to do, which was lose basically a whole nother 30 pounds and recomp her body, even more so than what she was able to do on her own. So I'm going to go a little bit over kind of, her story briefly. And so, not going to go too much into the details of it, but, so she, whenever she was at her, peak of things before she started working with me, keep in mind, she was probably, between 300 and 350 pounds. And I will never take any credit for anything that I haven't done. And so before we even started working together, she had gotten herself from that point to around, I think between 170, 174, something around there, maybe slightly less than that. But that's when she came to me. Or that's actually whenever I kind of started reaching out to her. We started chatting and things like that. And so that's when we started working together. And, it wasn't always, perfect or easy or anything like that. But what stood out and what, kind of shined through, especially, as we worked together and things like that, was her consistency, and her, ability to ask questions, or her willingness to ask questions and things like that. And so I'm going to go into this a little bit more later. But like, just to emphasize how crazy this shit is that like now, like she right now, I think earlier this week, actually it was yesterday, she weighed in under 144 pounds. Like, let that sink in for a second. Like, how fucking crazy and impressive and awesome is that? Like, to go from 300 to 300, or around 300 to 350 pounds, somewhere between there, to be in the position she's in now. Like, how insane is that? She is literally half the person that she was. Like, that's not even like an exaggeration. It's true. It's literally what happened. Like, that is insane. Can you imagine being double yourself right now, and then being half of that? You know how crazy that is? Like that blows my mind. Like, the amount of like dedication and like drive and like desire to achieve, like to not give up and to be consistent and to have that discipline. It's just so like cool. It's just very I don't know, inspiring. Yeah, I would say inspiring for sure. So yeah, like so before we even worked together, she worked her fucking ass off, like hardcore, like just put in the work. And it takes time. And that's one of those things where it's emphasizing like going at it from like a more sustainable approach, and trying to make this into more of like a lifestyle change. Like, that's how you do it. Like, that's how you make it sustainable, and that's how she got to where she is right now. But when we started working together, she was around that 170 mark, we'll just say that. And she was struggling with plateauing, and had reached this point where she plateaued, and she was kind of stuck there. She had been, going towards kind of like not necessarily a burnout route, but had, kind of gotten to a point where she didn't have a whole lot of calories to work with. I think when we started working together, she was around between 1,200 and 1,400 calories. And so, the first thing when we first started, working together, before we even started working together, I was just as transparent as possible. I was like, look, we're going to have to do a reverse diet, which I hope that you guys know what that is now since I did my other live, but if you don't, go watch the other live where I broke down basically what a reverse diet was. But, I was like, look, I was just upfront and told her what she needed to hear, and not necessarily what anybody in that position wants to hear is, we're going to have to do a reverse diet. You're going to have to start eating more food. And what's going to happen is you may lose a little bit of weight. You may stay the same, or you might gain some weight, and nobody wants to hear that. But, she stuck with it. She trusted me, at least in some capacity, at the beginning, and we did a reverse diet. And yeah, she gained a couple pounds, but we were able to take her consuming, between 12 to 1,400 calories and got her all the way up to somewhere around 22 to 2,400 calories. And that allowed us to give us that wiggle room so that way we could, start to break through that plateau again. And that's what happened, that's what happened. And it took time. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, and we talk about this in the interview that we did, it takes time. It takes, to make it something that's going to last, it takes time, and it takes, a more sustainable approach in order to keep that weight off. We were like, no shit, not shitting you at all. Like, we reverse dieted for at least a couple of months. And that's not something that somebody wants to do who wants to lose weight and get going. Is, we might have to, chill there for a couple more months in order to, lose more weight in the long term. And so, that's what we ended up having to do. So reverse dieted. She might have gained, between 5 to 7 pounds, but honestly, it wasn't probably fat. It was mostly probably like glycogen and water, and the extra food that she had. So that happened. But like after we got through that, we were able to, break through that plateau and then some, and then some, and then some. And it was just the weight just started coming off like crazy because she was following the fucking plan. She was being consistent. She was asking questions. She was making sure that she was making me aware of things going on in her week that, allowed me to make sure that, we could, work around it or work through it or solve the issues that were coming up. And so that's what happened. And because of that, she has lost, around 30 pounds now since we started working together. And it's been like an incredible journey, and I'm really excited and happy for her because, the next step is going to end up being, maybe, well, right now we're actually in another reverse diet phase, to, build up her calorie pool again, and then go from there and see how far we can push it before we want to start to do some sort of like building phase, and start to really, put on some muscle, because she's definitely, and that's the other thing too, is, she's lost a lot of fat and recomped and has gained muscle like substantially, and it's really, it's been really, really cool to see that happen. But the not just the physical changes, but the biggest thing that I've noticed since working with her is the like mindset shift. The mindset shift, which is one of those things that a lot of people, and this is why I have issue with people, just hiring like a personal trainer at a gym or something like that. It's not that it's a bad thing. Like if that's, solely what you want, if you just want somebody to work out with you and, make sure you do your workouts or whatever, like that's fine. No harm, no foul there. Like I have nothing against that, but they don't have the ability or the desire, or it's not built into their business model to help teach you how to do it on your own. And where most of that starts with is your mindset. The body will do what the mind wills it to do. But if your mind is all fucked up around up here, like in terms of like where you're coming from, like going into your fitness journey or your weight loss journey or whatever it is, you're going to have a way harder time, and you're going to be way more likely to fail and to not actually do it sustainably unless you get everything going on up here okay. You're not going to get everything out here, okay, and going in the direction that you want it to go. So that was the biggest thing, was her mindset shift was just incredible in terms of like she should tell you if you watch that interview, like how she is now and how she feels now about things and where she's at, like up here, compared to where she was when we first started, like completely different person. Like, and it's been amazing to see that change and that shift happen with her, because that's something that like I really harp on and I try to work on with a lot of my clients, is like working on your freaking mindset. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to be, you're not going to end up, succeeding or having as great a chance of success, or it's going to be a lot harder on yourself than it needs to be to get to your goal. And so, yeah, so I just, that's just something I wanted to mention, because it was just like, it's crazy. And another thing that we emphasized whenever it came to the interview that we did was like, and she definitely, harped on this too, is like, like she's not perfect, she's not a saint. She's not somebody who did everything perfectly to a T all the time. Like, she did a great job and she was consistent. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't expect my clients to be like perfect about everything, but I expect them to be consistent, and I expect them to, do their best to, try to, work on being, a little bit better every day. Because that's real life. Like, you can't expect your clients to be like to do everything perfectly to a T. I don't do everything perfectly to a T. I've talked to you guys about this before. Like, I have, I do stuff that I shouldn't do sometimes, and that's just a part of life. And recognizing that you're doing it is the first step to actually like working on like, becoming better about it. So, that being said, like, that's, what it comes down to is it's like, we're real fucking people. We're not like some like, influencer that has like, 1 million followers that only shows you the highlights of like of their life, that, and that makes you feel like, you're doing something wrong whenever you end up making a mistake or something. It's not that. It's just, being consistent and getting back on the wagon quicker, and learning how to, and practicing how to get back on quicker, than you did the time before. And that's how progress happens. That's how you actually make this sustainable. It's not like, if you, because a lot of people, when they fall off, they're like, well, screw it, I quit, like I can't do this, and then they fall off, and then they don't do it until like 6 months later when they're like, all right, I'm gonna try this again. Like, the people who are good at this stuff and become pros at this stuff don't fail or fall off any less than you do. They just get back on quicker. That's like the secret behind that, is practicing that and being consistent. So, I just want to emphasize that, because like that was something that she really emphasized, is like, we're not perfect. Like, we're not, like, that's not reality. And but look what you can achieve even with that reality, right? So, and yeah, and so it's one of those things though. It's like, and I've said this before with my other clients that have been like super successful, like in working with me. It's like they have these like qualities that make them be more likely to succeed. Like they're coachable. Like they listen. Like they listen. They ask questions. They want to learn about it. They're not just looking for this to be like, they might be at the beginning like some sort of like looking for like a quick fix or something like that, but once they get into it, they realize like, this is not, how it's going to go. This is not how I'm going to make this something that I can actually stick to if I'm just looking for a quick fix. I'm looking for shortcuts. Like, shortcuts are not the way to go. You only shortcut yourself. And like, being coachable enough and willing to learn and willing to listen and willing to change and to get out of your comfort zone, like those qualities are what, lead to these people, to all my clients being so successful. It is that, are those qualities. And so, and following a plan and being honest with themselves and working on being mindful. And like these things, if you're struggling right now, you need to work on those things. Okay? Because otherwise it's going to be, like I said, a lot harder than it needs to be. Because it starts up here. Okay? With your mindset. So, but I mean, honestly, like it's been an insane like transformation for her, and I could not be more proud of her. And I know you're going to probably see this, so I just want you to know that I'm proud of you, and I have loved working with you, and I can't wait to see what else we can fucking achieve. So that's my life for today. And if, like I said earlier, if you haven't watched that interview, go fucking watch it, because it's awesome. And if you're, if you don't have an hour to do that, check out the highlight tomorrow that I post, because it's going to be pretty cool. And yeah, all in all, super happy with how things are going. 30 pounds down. Can't complain about that. And I'm just excited to see what the future holds. So that's my life for today. I just want to talk about my badass client, Kiernan. and how awesome she is. So if you got some value out of this live, give it a like. You know, if you're watching this at a later time, hit me with that hashtag replay. Let me know that you saw this. Let me know what your number one takeaway was. You know, are you somebody who needs to work on, you know, those qualities that would make you, you know, more likely to succeed with your fitness journey? Are you in it for the short term? You know, think about that for yourself. Do you need to start thinking about it being more of like a lifestyle and a mindset shift, or like something that's more sustainable for you? You know, it's a matter of, you know, what you want to get out of it. And I encourage you to go for like, you know, slow, steady, sustainable, because that's what's going to, you know, win out in the long run. So that's my live for today. Hope this was valuable. If you think this might help somebody out, you know, if they need to hear this, if they need to, you know about, you know, somebody else's crazy story that, you know, could inspire them, you know, share this, like send it to them, tag them in the comments, like let them know that, you know, it is possible and that they can do it. But they're going to, you know, probably need to start to change some things with their mindset first when it comes to it. So hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everybody, and I will talk to you tomorrow.